Welcome to Soul Sisteries. Hey, hello, and welcome to Soul Sisteries. We just had such a fun conversation, an enlightening conversation with Ryan and Anne-Marie Villiers, the owners and founders of Donut Kitty, and with amazing story of perseverance and a whole stepping into that world of COVID, which hit them hard. And boy, talk about perseverance. God, that was just inspiring, right?
Was right. Come along with us as we listen and learn more about their story and about their yummy treats.
Hey, everybody, here we are with Ryan and Anne-Marie Villiers. We are so excited to have them here with us. We just had the opportunity to try their fabulous product, Donut Kitty. We were able to hit one of their pop-ups in LA, and that was so much fun. So that's exactly who they are. They are the founders and owners of Donut Kitty in Southern California. It's a fairly new pop-up where they've created all of this wonderful product and all the merch and stuff that goes with it because they're designers as well as foodies and creators in all sorts of areas. They're super entrepreneurial. They've been partners in life since college, I think. They've been together for a long while. And this venture, what's that?
High school for me.
Oh, high school. Okay. So they go back.
We just celebrated 31 years.
31 years. That's a good time. And they still like each other. Not only do they still like each other, but they're in business together now. And this venture, what we are so attracted to when wanting to talk with them is this venture came directly out of the COVID shutdown, and which was the COVID era was pretty complicated for these two and their family. And I'm sure they're going to talk about that. And so here they are just jumping into the world in this beautiful way. So our hope through word with these wonderful two is hope through perseverance, which absolutely defines them and who they are. Welcome, Ryan and Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited to be here, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for saying yes. We can be a lot, so we appreciate you being willing to jump in. So I stated the hope through topic, hope through perseverance, but what we'd love, and it's a big ask, but could you kind of give us the story of what brings you to this moment where Donut Kitty is popping up all over the place? What's the journey that got you here?
Sure. Do you mind if I start?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's a long, complex story. Of course, it's very personal and very in line with where we have been as a family and just who we are as people, how we got here. A lot of it started with a joke. A lot of it started with just rough times and trying to get through COVID and illness, to find ourselves in a place where we're trying to bring back joy, find something simple that we love, and just do it. Cut out a lot of the stress of the corporate world and focus on something that just makes us, and more importantly, makes other people happy. So the journey starts, I guess, from my career. My background is in design. I led design, digital innovation for many major studios and corporations here in Los Angeles. My passion is in art, is in creating beautiful user experiences that are really compelling and interesting and fun. And I from that rolled it into my company, my agency, where we built those for other companies, digital apps and experiences that blend the analog and the digital, because I've always just found that fascinating. How you can get somebody to interact on all these screens that are incredibly available to us, but then also take that into the real world and into their lives and come off the screens and still celebrate and promote the experience that they're having. So that's kind of the background that started this journey. But really where it started to grow legs was in a trip that my daughter and I took to Iceland. Iceland was a joke, a family in joke, where when my youngest daughter Parker and I would get frustrated with Anne-Marie or frustrated with Parker's big sister, we would just say that we're running off to Iceland. So for her 13th birthday, her treat was that we ran off to Iceland together, a daddy and daughter trip.
I mean, that's very cool and amazing.
It was an amazing trip. I mean, if you have the opportunity to go to Iceland, go to Iceland. It's otherworldly. It's so beautiful. There's so many things to see. Reykjavik as a town is a wonderful town. But getting out into the wild and seeing these surreal landscapes it just shows you the beauty of Mother Nature. It's really transformative. So we would stay up late and we would chase the northern lights and we'd be up till 2 or 3 in the morning, and then we'd come back to downtown Reykjavik, and there was a guy selling donuts in this tiny little cart, and they weren't the most fantastic donuts, but he was in the right place at the right time, right? He was
Okay.
hitting the bar crowd, he was hitting the late night crowd. He's making these tiny little donuts, and you just kind of watch them move down this trough of oil, and they would fry, and they just would kind of hit at that time of night. So we'd get back into town, and we had just kind of affectionately started calling them kitties. Let's go get some of those kitties tonight. Those were so good. So evolving the family in joke, when we got back from Reykjavik, it was no longer that we were going to run off to Iceland because we did that. It was, oh, we're just going to start our own donut shop called Donut Kitty, and that's going to be our our future. That's going to be our sanity, getting away from the craziness of everything that was going on in the family and in life and what everything else. Let's go start a Donut Kitty. And it was just a joke. Like it was nothing that we were ever serious about or ever thought we would do. Then of course the pandemic hits. And as you know about our background, I was an early adopter. In March of 2020, I heard about this cool new bug and I thought, hey, let's give this a shot.
Oh God.
So I remember it vividly because it was right after my birthday. On March 20th, I'd cooked dinner and I didn't feel well. I didn't eat dinner with the family because I was just so terribly exhausted. We went to the hospital, or went to urgent care the following weekend, and they ran all the tests that they could. It was very early, in the pandemic. They didn't know anything. And the tests that they ran, they came back and said, well, you don't have the flu, so you probably have COVID, but we don't know yet.
Wow.
So they recommended that I isolate and that we just follow the protocols that were being adopted at the time, which we did. And, in my knowledge, my thought was, okay, if I have COVID, which they eventually confirmed, my knowledge of being sick over my lifetime, having colds and flus and whatever, was once the fever breaks, then I should be okay. So if I could just ride out the fever, I'll be okay. And that was kind of the biggest mistake that I made at that time. We didn't know how serious the pandemic was going to be or how serious the illness was. So I was riding out 105 fever, and dehydrated, not eating. My kidneys were going into failure. I was having horrible hallucinations and fever dreams.
And this is all while you're home.
This is all while I was home. This is in the 10 days leading up to when it took for me to get to the hospital. So I wrote it out. My fever broke, but it only broke to like 102. So it didn't really come down a lot. And by that time, I was so weak, I couldn't even get out of bed. And Anne-Marie had noticed that the food that she would leave me outside our door was just piling up. So she, knocks on the door and says, I think you need to go to the hospital. And I just, at that point, kind of nodded yes. From that point, the last thing that I remember was the paramedics, asking me to walk downstairs. And I was like, yeah, that's not happening. So they carried me downstairs. The next thing I remember is being in a gurney with the doctor over me saying, okay, we're going to intubate you. Do you know what that means? And in my head, my thought was, oh, great, I'm going to get some sleep.
Oh
you know,
God.
because I was likening it to my knee surgery at that time. I'd had knee surgery because I blew out my MCL, and my thought was, well, I had really great sleep when I had that done, so this is just going to be a great sleep. I'm going to wake up rested and better, and and great. Let's do that. Um, the next thing I know, I wake up 7 days later, 5 days later.
5 days.
Yeah. Having been in a coma, having run through every experimental treatment that they had available at the time. Um, and I wasn't feeling any better. And the really kind of disturbing thing for me, because I find a lot of humor in gallows humor. I have a very dark sense of humor. But one of the things that I noticed was that the nurses, as they would come in, um, had a very disturbing look on their face. They were very surprised to kind of see me, or very distant. And at first I thought, oh, well, they're just being cautious because of COVID. And then finally I asked one of them, and she was kind enough to be extremely honest, like brutally honest with me. And I said, you know, why is everybody acting so weird when they come into this room? And she just blurted, "Oh, we thought you would be dead." Um,
Wow.
and that took me aback. That like really kind of shocked me. Like that's how sick I was. Like that's when it really hit me that that's how sick I was.
So
And I
Ryan,
asked her,
I'm gonna put a pin right now on what you're saying, because can we just turn to Anne-Marie real quick?
Sure.
Because I want to know, Anne-Marie, what is up to this point, what is this for you? You've got
Right.
to be feeling incredibly powerless, I mean, I can't even imagine. What is this
Right.
for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when Ryan went to the hospital, I knew he was sick. But I didn't think that I would get that phone call that said, we're intubating him. And to me, from what I know, not a doctor, but that's almost the kiss of death, right? I mean, so that was really difficult. And I thought, okay, how am I going to tell the kids this? Because they were home, one was already in college. So college had shut down. So those were some difficult conversations to have. And then it was just, it was I don't know if I slept at all during that time frame. It was the constant check in with the hospitals every time the new shift would come in. What's going on? What's the updates? I'd be
Because this
taking
is the
notes.
era we will remember in which you
Correct.
were allowed in the hospital.
I know.
The
No,
hardcore
we weren't
shutdown.
allowed. And not to mention, prior to him even going to the hospital, for 10 days, he is in our master bedroom with the door shut. I'm knocking on the door. He had his cell phone, but as you can imagine, he was so sick, many a times he wasn't responding to me. So I'd be calling, family members, like, what do I do? He's not, this, that, and all this other. Like, we have on Ryan's side, we do have a doctor in the family. So she was trying to assist me with some things. But yeah, it was just a very surreal time. Never thought I would find myself in that type of situation. Thankfully, he definitely, came through it. It was a long process, came home with oxygen. So that was very difficult to see that he could barely even walk up the stairs. And it took the kids and I everything we had to carry, like his oxygen tank, up the stairs for him.
I mean, it took me 45 minutes to get up the stairs.
Yeah, when he came home, I was like, I don't know if they should have released you. I mean, you were still so incredibly winded and everything, but back then they needed the bed.
Right.
In our local hospital, he was the third one that entered for COVID. So I kind of consider it a blessing that he got it so early because there was so much attention on him, and I really do believe that probably saved his life.
And I've seen some of the videos, Ryan, that you posted at that time in the hospital when you were actually getting better, quote unquote, and how incredibly weak you were. And I remember the point you were making in those videos, which was like you wanted everyone to know this is the reality of what this disease is and what it's doing. Anyways, okay, pin unpulled. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Let's go back to you, Ryan, to continue.
Yeah. So I mean, just to put a fine point on what you said, there was so much misinformation at the time. It was very important for me for people to understand how serious the disease was, right? Because I didn't take it as seriously. I thought, this is going to be something that certainly impacts the United States, impacts the world, but is it going to impact me personally? We were healthy. We had literally spent the summer before hiking up mountains in Germany. We were, we didn't have any pre-existing morbidities or diseases or anything that would have put me in a category where I thought that, oh yes, I'm going to be super susceptible to this. But I was, and a lot of people were that weren't expecting it. Also, to go back to the topic today, and not to gloss over Anne-Marie's contribution during this time, when we talk about perseverance, her perseverance in figuring out the path forward when her partner in life, somebody who we've been with since we were children, been together since we were children, to be able to figure out, to set that aside and the emotion and the hurt and the fear that goes with that, to set that aside and to be a patient advocate and a communicator to the family and the person who is railing back against the insurance companies who don't want to pay the $750,000 in medical bills that we ended up getting.
Wow.
That was really the first bit of amazing perseverance, right? Mm-hmm. Because it would have been very easy for Anne-Marie to just fold up and to internalize at that point and to focus on the grief. But for me and for her family and for everybody around us, she became this rock, which was incredibly admirable and not a quality or trait that I see in a lot of people. I don't know that I could have done that. Like that was amazing.
Did you know that was in Anne-Marie?
No, actually, we would joke that was not in Anne-Marie. There's a statistic out there that in a disaster situation, 10% of the people will immediately react, right? And they'll figure out what they need to do, and they're the survivors. 80% of the people can be guided, and they'll maybe survive if they're lucky, but they'll panic first, and then they'll figure out what they need to do. The bottom 10% are the people who just immediately die, right? They're so caught up in the panic and the chaos that they can't act and they die. And we always used to joke within our family that half of us were 10%ers and the other half were 10%ers. And you got to figure out who was who, right? Because there's some of us who worry a lot more than others. But to see that I was wrong about that with regard to Anne-Marie, and that she is definitely in a 10%er that is going to figure out the path forward was amazing to see. Like it's an incredible quality to see come out of a person.
So it sounds like, and I want you to finish your story, but it sounds like in this family where there's these 10%ers, maybe the 10%ers who are not what you thought was the top, we're only letting you be at the top because that is important to you. But when it mattered, they were able to get there.
Yeah, I mean, she's very generous that way, right? The other family joke is that, she's vanilla and I'm the other 30 flavors. but we do say that jokingly, but she's always been very generous about letting my big personality be my big personality and not making me feel bad about that. Like when you're a creative, it kind of comes with you kind of sign up for it, right? It's just part and parcel of who we are. And Anne-Marie, not so much being a creative, could feel threatened by that or could accept it. And she has always just accepted it, which is, I think, why we've worked it's 31 years married, but I put in time served, which is 36 years.
Yeah, you earned it. I'd claim all 36. So.
So to that point of being a creative, Ryan, I mean, this Donut Kitty venture is not your first entrepreneurial venture, right? That we've understood that you've dipped your toe into a variety of creative outlets, and it's just your way to find a way to make them happen. I mean, I'm always going to be busy, right? I'm always going to be doing something because that's what's in me. I have to be creating. I'm a person who doesn't wait for the path to come to me. I build the path that I need to that I want to go down. So I'm in the hospital. They tell me they are expecting me to be dead. I questioned the nurse on this, and she's like, "Oh no, your heart rate dropped
to 20 and we coded you. We brought in the crash cart. Um, and it was just by grace of them giving you some dopamine that it brought your heart rate back up and we were able to save you. So the nurses who were on the rotation were coming back around were expecting somebody else to be in that bed. They weren't expecting to see me, which was, it was frightening. You know, it was really scary to hear. And I think it really hit home how deeply serious the disease was and how deeply serious the pandemic was going to be. So flash forward, I get home, I start to recuperate. You know, the first part of that is denying any weakness that I'm feeling in myself, right? Like I was still in isolation even coming home, but I wanted to get up as much as I can. I wanted to push myself. I wanted to get on the Peloton. I wanted to try to rehab my body as much as I could because I was sick of being that sick guy in bed. Like I was done with it.
Yeah.
And as I started to come around, we started to get more energy. We just kind of came back to those family in jokes and back to Donut Kitty and said, you know, can we even make donuts? You know, I'm a pretty good chef on my, you know, for foods, for dinners and meals and all of that, but I never really tried to make a donut. So, you know, the blessing of all the isolation during the pandemic was the ability to really focus on, hey, let's try to make a donut. And it will be our Donut Kitty. It won't be anything. Like we're not at this point trying to make a business out of it. But let's just, you know, we have nothing to do. Let's try to make donuts. Everybody's doing sourdough. Well, you don't want to do that. Let's make donuts. So we tried a bunch of different recipes and, you know, they were good, but nothing that we liked. You know, I don't like cake donuts. We don't like heavy fried donuts. So we started thinking about, well, we really like malasadas that are popular in Hawaii. And of course, we love beignets. So why don't we go down that path, kind of a yeast donut that's a little bit lighter, that's fluffier, that's not as sweet. And then maybe we do fillings and glazes and stuff that are handcrafted, homemade, and that's what makes it a really interesting donut. So we started going down that path and we're able to develop a recipe. God, what was it, like 13, 14 recipes that we tried? That kind of blended the malasada with the beignet to create a lighter donut and really felt like we had the start of something. You know, at the same time, as much as COVID impacted my health, you know, it impacted the family. It also impacted my digital media agency. You know, our client base was entertainment and retail, both of which got wiped out during the pandemic. So you know, seeing that there was going to be a long path on the horizon to rebuild that business, my thought was, well, while we're rebuilding that business, maybe there is something in this Donut Kitty concept. And the promise that we made to each other is we'll pursue it until it doesn't make sense, right? Every step of the way, we're going to model it out. We're going to see if it can be profitable. We're going to see if we have a product and if people actually like it. And if anywhere in there it doesn't make sense, then great. It was fun for just kind of us. But as we started to create the business model around it, we found, oh, wait, this kind of makes sense. Like you can build a business around a singular product and brand it in a way where financially it can make sense. You can actually be profitable on that. And you can create a donut that is in and of itself versatile, where you focus on the fillings and the glazes and all the things that really give it a robust flavor. And there can be profit in that. You can actually build a business around that. And now you could bring in coffees and a roastery and do all these other things that round out the business and really make it make sense. And then, of course, the creative and artsy side of me, branding side of me says, well, now we can go in and we can do merch and we can do branding and we can do all this limited run merchandise behind the brand that attract people to it, because who knows what a donut kitty is, but they know that they like the aesthetic, and now they want to give it a try.
So I
Yeah.
want to share, because how I first learned of this donut kitty, it was a pop-up on Facebook, and I don't live in California, so it popped up, and I thought, I don't know much about coffee, but I'm going to order something here. So I think you had 3 kinds of coffee, and I really just looked at the pictures on the coffee package, and I picked which one I thought I would like. I got a cat box blend is what I got.
Yes.
So that came within just a couple of days, which is rare and get shipping in across country. So it came within a couple of days with a handwritten thank you note and a cute little sticker. And I thought, okay, this is some really good customer service. I liked this. And then I would continue to see pop-ups about your pop-ups and donuts. And I was confused because I thought, donut kitty, but I'm having coffee. What is donut kitty? And I started seeing all these pop-ups with donuts. And I was very jealous that I didn't get to have donuts. So I'm thinking, are the pop-ups coming to the East Coast? So still waiting for that. But last month, when I was flying, literally on the plane flying to California, I saw something that said you were going to be at a pop-up having Donut Kitty with your merchandise and donuts and coffee, and called my sister and said, hey, can we go to this? It's only a half an hour away from you. Can we be there? So we did. And that's when we got to see you and talk to you about this business. So I would love for you to talk, because you went to Iceland, you thought about these donuts, you created donuts during this pandemic, really kind of a bonding activity for your family when all this craziness was going on. And now you're shipping coffee across country. I don't know where else. You're having these pop-ups. That was fantastic for us to be there. I want you to talk a little bit about these pop-ups and what you're doing at these pop-ups and how you're bringing your product to us.
Yeah. So a couple of things in there. The coffee came out of the desire to highly curate everything about this business, right? We really wanted to be an experience. So we had initially planned to not really have baristas in shop, not really to have a lot of fancy coffee drinks like a Starbucks or anything like that. That we would bring in like Nespresso machines and we would just have whatever coffee offerings that they have, and that would be the pairing. But as we were continuing to model out the business, what occurred to me was we really need to treat the coffee as important as we do the donut. We put so much time and effort into developing the donuts and the fills that we really need to do that with the coffee as well. And once we kind of settled on that realization, then it was, okay, well, if we're going to do that, then we're sourcing and roasting our own greens, right? We're going to create our own coffee blends that are going to be coffees that we love to drink personally, but also coffees that pair well with our donuts. So the cat box blend, that's the workhorse blend, right? You can eat it with something a little bit sweet. You can eat it with the strawberry filling, the blueberry filling, and it kind of balances that out really well. Our darker blend, which is Laputa Chat, that is our darker roast. It's like a French roast, espresso roast that goes great with chocolates and creams and the donuts that are a little bit richer. Then we have our medium roast, which one of our associates helped develop because she really likes medium roasts. That again is another workhorse, but is a little bit lighter, not as heavy. So if you're eating a heavier filling donut, you have something to drink with it that's not going to add to that. So we wanted to be really mindful then about how we curate these blends. And then as we expand, bringing the roasteries into our brick and mortars so that every brick and mortar, the coffee is going to be roasted on site. And we'll change out regularly so that we continually have these coffee pairings, and you have coffee that is fresh. That's no more than, a few weeks old, if not a few days old. So that's kind of the concept. Now with the pop-up, we've been very fortunate to raise capital for our brick and mortars. We are still raising capital for our brick and mortars because based on our business model, we don't want to start with one brick and mortar. We want to start with multiple brick and mortars to give us a good footprint so that we can expand to places like the East Coast. We have definite plans to get to the East Coast, and we want to be very mindful about the path that we follow to get there. The pop-up was an interim solution while we're raising capital for the brick and mortars. We wanted to prove out the concept, because there was the question of, well, we like what we're making, but does everybody like what we're making? We wanted to prove out the brand. We thought it was cute. We thought there was a lot of fun stuff going on with the brand, but how does everybody else feel about it? And we wanted to get the name out there. And with our pop-ups, we'd be able to accomplish all three. Unfortunately, I don't know that the pop-up's going to make it to the East Coast anytime soon, because you saw the setup and it's a pretty complicated setup for a pop-up food booth. But there was a lot that went into it to kind of reflect where we want to go with the brick and mortars and what we want the experience to be and what the merchandise will look like and what the product will look like. And now we've gotten a lot of customer feedback that says that's just reaffirming, hey, you have something here, so let's just keep growing it. Every pop-up, we're trying to show and plan something different so that, it's about growth. It's about showing, that it's versatile, that people are responding, and that we can say, okay, hey, look, that first pop-up we went out, we were only coffee and donuts. The coffee did exceptionally well. The donuts did well. People responded to the brand. The next one, it was about increasing the average order size. So we brought in merch, we brought in more fillings, and we were able to see the brand start to grow. This time it was about social and getting the name out there. And we saw so many people reposting us, talking about us, celebrating the brand. So it was really great to see how this evolution is really kind of quickly starting to take off. So every time we go out and we do these pop-ups, it's about that additional bit of learning, and it's about that additional bit of what we can bring to the brand and to the experience.
I'm not surprised at all that you guys are getting traction. I mean, it really is a good product. I've really enjoyed it, and just the whole look of it, the feel of it, the vibe of it is great. But so here's the thing, though. Many people in the world have ideas, even great ideas. Very few actually put the feet to those ideas to bring them forward. What is it about you two and your family? Because I know that at least one of your daughters is part of this venture also, right? What is it about you guys that drives you to actually make the thing happen? This is a lot of work. Let's not pretend, right?
Yeah.
This is a lot of work. So what is
It's a lot of work.
What fuels you?
It's a lot of work. For those who can't see, I'm showing her my what is this? My Hydro Flask with all the Donut Kitty stickers on it.
Which are super cute.
What is it that makes this work?
No, with Ryan, it's just pure and simple tenacity. I mean, he gets a hold of a project and he doesn't quit until it's done. He has a lot of momentum behind his ideas and what he likes to do. And that's a rare treat. In many people, they don't, they go, oh, let's go do this. And then 5 minutes later, it's out the window. Ryan gets a hold of a concept and he just runs with it. And he always takes it across the finish line, sometimes much to my chagrin when all the stuff is all over the house and whatever the case may be. But that's one of his best qualities, is that he really sees something across the finish line. And his attention to detail, which I joke has been passed on to me, because, I see things now and I'm like, oh my God, that is done, half-assed, pardon my French. They could have put so much more into it, but it's because of what he's instilled in me. So I have such a critical eye now because of him.
And I think for Anne-Marie, it's been the support, right? Like, how many wives would say to their husbands, oh, you want to make donuts now? Like, okay, like let's go make donuts. It's such a dogleg from what both of our careers have been. It's my background is in entertainment and is in new media and is in all these technologies that are being developed today. So to say, hey, let's try out this donut thing, a lot of wives would say, yeah, no, like that's crazy. But she doesn't, she listens to the vision. She might not always get it. But once she starts seeing it be produced, she's like, yeah, I really didn't have a doubt. I just didn't know which way we were going with it, and then to have her come out and help set up the pop-up and to work the fryer and to do all those other things. A lot of wives would be, okay, I'm going to be supportive, but I'm not going to get back there and actually work the thing. She's been happy to do that as well, and has been a huge part of the success that we're starting to build with that.
And to be a
You know,
taste. Sorry, how fun to be the taste tester.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
well, the days in the kitchen where we're testing new fillings, like she's always like excited to come home and go, "Oh, you did the ginger peach." Like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good." So it's great to be able to bounce those things off of her and, our daughters and the people who are just kind of passing through to see, okay, is this something that's going to work for us? To circle back to the COVID discussion, a lot of this started to get born out of, we went through this tragedy, this thing that we're still dealing with, personally, financially, emotionally. It's something that and even health wise, I'm certainly in the long COVID camp. So it's something that we joke that COVID is the gift that just keeps on giving,
Mm.
because it does in so many ways. But as I came out of it and I was starting to push myself, one of the things that both of us tried to do to help this whole thing make sense was to speak to other people who were getting COVID, who were starting to be hospitalized, and to walk them through the questions to ask, how to deal with their insurance companies, the symptoms to be aware of and to look out for, and just taking what we had been through as a way of educating and informing others at a very critical time in this nation's and in this world's history, so that they could better manage and maybe wouldn't have to go through the things that we went through. And in that, I can confidently say there are probably about 3 or 4 lives that we saved. People who we insisted they get to the hospital, or looked at specific types of treatments, or avoided specific types of treatments that weren't making sense, or getting vaccinated once those were finally available. All of those things that people were resistant to or didn't understand or simply hadn't heard of were important for us to help our journey through that tragedy make more sense. And I think it becomes part of the perseverance story, right? Because you have to pick yourself up by the bootstraps sometimes, as hard as it is. You have to be able to find hope and meaning and purpose in everything that you go through, because that's what powers the things that come next,
Yeah.
right? It's the ability to persevere through something that is so scary and so life altering, to be able to use that to find yourself forward and not just hide your head in a hole, right? Because that's, I won't lie, I've had that inclination a lot. I think we both have, that you just want to lock yourself in a closet, you want to hide away, you don't want to deal with any of it. And it's, I think, okay to give yourself those moments and to acknowledge that you feel that way. But ultimately, you have to take that and find your inner strength to push forward. So that's kind of the foundational path that got us to where we are, right? The tying COVID to Donut Kitty is kind of an odd leap, and it's a weird way to connect the dots, but there is a foundation in that you have to find within yourself this ability to continue forward, even if it's not the path that you were expecting, so that you can not just survive, but begin to thrive again.
Right.
Um,
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, one last thought of that, and it kind of goes back to your question about how do you put the rubber to the road? Being an artist, I've taught a lot of art classes, both at the collegiate level, but even more so at the like grammar school level. When my daughters were in school, I was always asked to come in and teach them art classes. And one of the things that I'd always do is I would ask the students to tell me what they thought the scariest thing for an artist was, the most horrifying, evil, scary, intimidating thing that they could think of. And you'd get all these crazy answers, monsters, Frankenstein, spiders, whatever. And then I'd hold up a blank sheet of paper I said, this is the scariest thing for an artist. Is a sheet of paper that has nothing on it, because it's that impetus to want to put something on that paper without knowing what you're going to put on that paper, or the fear that it's going to be terrible and you're not going to like it and it's going to be wasted effort, is the thing that holds us back.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to take that first step. And then once you take that first step, every step beyond that is so much easier. Right? Like it's a hard path. And I've recognized that just in managing artists and managing creatives, that it's a lot of times it's hard for them to get past that on their own. But once you can get past that, whether you're nudged or whether you find your inner strength, every step beyond that becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. As a writer, I can attest to this as well. That blank page.
Typing that first character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it starts. Yeah.
And
So-
sometimes it's just anything. You just put it on the paper and then let it come from there. Like, get yourself over that hurdle of it's got to be gold. The first thing that you write,
Right.
it could be total crap. That's right.
I can tell you, every painting I've ever done starts with a fantastic idea, the best idea I've ever had. Then I start painting it, and it's like, oh my God, this sucks. Like I'm going to be embarrassed. I got to burn this. Like nobody can see this. And then you push through it, and at the end, you're like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I'm freaking Da Vinci. Like this is great.
Let me just route back to this hope, this idea of hope, right? And you talked about hope through perseverance. And many people go through horrific experiences. 2020 was horrible for many people. Many people did not see a glimmer of hope, whether it, they didn't find it, it wasn't presented to them. It sounds like you guys have offered hope to other people who have kind of gone along that journey. I'm curious, and I don't know if you want to answer this together or each separately, but what gives you hope?
It's a good question, especially in light of what's going on right now.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to maybe answer this a little bit differently. Ryan and I are very much into experiences. When we do something, we like it to be fully immersive. We want to really experience it. We'd rather do something fun than, I don't know, just sit at home. So, when we go out to dinner, sometimes we're very strategic about where we decide we're going to go, because we really take a look at the menu and we want to know what pairings are going with it, or if there's entertainment. And, I find hope in that there's still, at the basic human level, people still want to have these experiences, and they still want to get out of their house and enjoy life. So Donut Kitty, the concept of it is that we want people, when they walk in the store, that I'm not going to Winchell's, I'm not going to DK or whatever, Dunkin' Donuts. I want to go to Donut Kitty because, wow, there's music playing, there's cute merch, there's things to do in the store. The kids like all the graphics, all the colors, all the fun. So that's where I find hope, is that still providing experiences and things to do for people.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Cool. How about you, Ryan?
Oh, I'm hopeless.
Oh, yeah. There we end. No.
I find hope in, as much as I can be a cynic, I do believe in the fundamental goodness of people.
Yeah.
And I think that wins over the long term. It certainly doesn't feel like it now, hasn't felt like it for a while.
Yeah.
But I think that wins, that history leans towards good. Because if I didn't believe that, then what are any of us doing here? Like, what a miserable existence it would be. So as much as we can bring good and we can try to be good people, even through our imperfections, learn from them, become more self-actualized. I believe very, very firmly in the hierarchy of needs.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we can get past just the struggling to survive tears and the basic needs tears, and we can focus on arts and education and creativity and being just better people,
Yes.
that's what gives me hope, because the more opportunity we give for everybody to get there, the better we become as a society and as a planet. So I have to hope that's the direction we're moving, despite all the hate and vitriol we see these days.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. All right. So on that note, how about we jump into our fun and silly little rapid fire questions? How about that? Just
Let's do it.
throw a little whimsy out there. Okay. All right. This is, oh gosh, I could keep talking to you guys forever. This is riveting to me.
If you look, I have my skull here. If you keep us talking, I'm going to break into my Hamlet soliloquy.
It makes me think of, what is it in what is that movie with Janine Garofalo? She's the bowler with Ben Stiller.
Oh yeah, yes.
What is that movie? I love that movie.
Yeah.
Mystery Men. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Mystery Men.
Her bowling ball with her dad's head. Anyway, watch it if you haven't seen it. Great movie. Okay, here we go. Rapid fire. All right. So, walking out to the pitcher mound, walking out into the stage, there's music playing. It's your walk-in song. What's your walk-in song?
Oh, We Belong.
Well, together as a
Together?
couple. Yeah, We Belong by Pat Benatar.
Yes, Pat and Neil, who have a new children's book out. How much do you love that? I love that. The two of them. Okay, do you have individual ones? Or this is only a shared thing, huh?
God.
I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor.
Yes.
Right there.
I mean, Sex Dwarf comes to mind, but I don't
So,
know.
a little soft sell.
Yeah, a little soft sell.
I love you guys.
No, mine would be something more melodramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, Bon Iver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bon Iver.
The music is played in a lot of movies.
Holocene
Okay.
would be the song.
Yeah.
It's very sad and weepy.
Yeah.
We're talking about like morbid humor. My Spotify playlist started as the songs you play at my funeral. Like it literally, Anne-Marie hated it. She's like, why is this your death playlist? I'm like, because like they're the songs that like resonate with me. You want me as a playlist? This is it. And they're all like just weepy, sad, like horrible indie songs.
I will say, having planned a funeral or two, I would have appreciated somebody.
Preloading the work.
There you go.
So, okay, as we ask these questions, then you could do an answer together or individually, however.
Okay.
So, what book changed you?
Oh gosh. Well, I just quoted Ayn Rand, but that didn't change me.
No.
I really didn't like her.
Understandably so.
Yeah. I mean, Hamlet. We talked about Hamlet.
God,
I
Shakespeare.
really resonated with Hamlet, Shakespeare.
Okay.
Of Mice and Men, a simple piece.
Oh,
If we're talking about fiction and literature, if we're talking about nonfiction, Eric Hoffer. That's one I think everybody should read. The True Believer.
Okay.
what a rich, eclectic collection.
You want to know, you want better insight into the mentality that is driving these subversive political movements today. Eric Hoffer is the guy to read.
Rock on.
What about you, Anne-Marie? Any ideas on your book?
That's also a running joke in the family. Having been an English major, reading, for me, I took the opposite approach. It's the last thing I want to do anymore. I have no desire to open up a book. I know that sounds really bad. But on that note, I am a big Shakespeare person. I mean, I love Midsummer Night's Dream. It's like one of my all-time favorites. Other than that, a good rom-com is always good for me in terms of a book. So I just like easy, light reading. I don't get as heavy as Ryan does. I like an escape. So
Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robbie
Yes.
restore amends. Okay.
The HR manual that
Yeah, yeah. I write enough employee handbooks and do policy that I'm not really interested in reading.
Got you. Okay, so then what movie lives rent-free in your brain?
Hudsucker Proxy,
Oh,
that Shawshank.
There's a lot. The Holiday is one of my
Any
favorites.
Christmas movie for you.
Yeah, any Christmas movie for me. And I hate to say it and I hate to admit it, but a lot of Adam Sandler movies I just absolutely love. Yeah, but yeah, any Christmas movie for sure.
You like the slapstick.
Yeah, I like the slapstick. Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
release.
The Great Outdoors. It gets me every time when the bear runs in. Ryan's like, I can't believe you laugh so hard every single time that
Every
happens.
time.
But I just love that scene.
That's awesome.
So what did you love doing as a kid that you still love doing today?
That's good.
Throwing rocks at my neighbor. I think Diana just lost it.
Just thinking your poor neighbor if they listen to this.
I know.
So that's why our window is broken.
Is that where they're coming from? I mean, for me, it's art, right? I grew up an art. I was born an artist. I mean, some of my earliest memories were sitting down with like McDonald's comics and images that I'd find, and I would just draw them from sight. And it was just, to me, I never understood why other people couldn't do it because it was just so easy for me. So, I mean, that's something I still love to do today
Fun.
with McDonald's comics. I'm a big fan.
How about you, Anne-Marie?
You know, this sounds kind of sad, but I don't know if I do anything on a regular basis that I used to do as a kid. However, if I did, it would probably be roller skating. That was kind of like my jam. I used to love to go roller skating, even just in the neighborhood. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that I did as a kid that I still continually do today. I don't think there is. Clean. Yeah. The OCD part of me that I inherited. Yeah. Yeah.
Donut Kitty roller night.
Yeah,
Oh.
there you go. Yeah, with the disco lights and everything. I'm down in a little REO Speedwagon. We're all set.
My Sharona.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm all in. Tell me when and where. I'll be there.
That's kind of a vibe.
It definitely is. Look, we can see the light bulbs going off right now. Okay. What color is hope?
Black. I mean, because everything's black. That's all I wear is black. Now, this is funny because I'm partly synesthetic. So I do assign colors and flavors to things, particularly like numbers. I don't get a sense for hope. Blue, maybe?
Blue.
Okay.
I think for me, it would be, of course, it's my favorite color, but would be like a burgundy or a wine color. That would be hope for me.
Okay.
I mean, if we go into symbolism, it would be blue or green. If we go into like religious symbolism, if we go into literary symbolism, yeah.
Okay. Blue, green, burgundy. We'll take
And black. It's whatever it is.
Black.
black. Everything is black. So what in the world is lighting you up right now?
Well, the sun currently. I mean, our daughters.
Yeah, that's my answer.
That's the easy answer.
Yeah, the kids.
Family.
Yeah, to see them. Everybody always asks me, oh, don't you miss when your kids were little? And yeah, to a certain extent, I do. But I really am enjoying this phase, seeing them as adults and thriving and doing what they enjoy, and the fact that they can stand on their own 2 feet. To me, that is amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best accomplishment of all. I mean, we do all these things professionally for any number of reasons, but the true accomplishment is being able to raise smart, functional human beings that are self-sufficient and who are ready to help be a better part of this world.
Yeah, just be good people in the world.
Be good people of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, super satisfying. Okay, you talked about what color hope is. What does hope sound like?
Oh, that is a really good
What does
question.
hope sound like? I mean, the cheesy answer is like a choir singing heavenly angels. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but that's the first thing that comes to mind.
I mean, it's a gorgeous sound.
It's a gorgeous sound.
Inspiring, whoever you
I
are.
mean, it's inspiring, yes.
Yeah.
I would have to say it's through music too. There's certain songs that resonate with me that whenever I hear it, it puts me back. I like music, and I always attribute my parents to that because there was always music in the house. And it just takes me back to certain times of my life, and I go, "Oh, that's exactly where I was. That was what I was doing." So, to me, hope sounds like certain eras, certain types of music, certain individuals that sang certain songs. That's, I think, big for me.
Okay, so your hope through is perseverance. So fill in the blanks. Perseverance is what?
Well, of course, it's never giving up,
Yeah,
right? Even when you want to give up,
yeah,
it's not giving up.
Yeah.
One of the things that COVID really taught me is to honor myself and honor my own feelings, right? To give myself the days to mourn and to be grieful and to feel sorry for myself and to process all the emotions that I was feeling, but also not to dwell on that, you know, and when you give yourself that permission, it becomes easier not to dwell on it, right? Because you're not holding it in, you're not bottling it up. You're saying, "Hey, I accept what I'm feeling today, and it's valid and it's fine, and I'm going to let myself feel it because then I'm not going to feel it and I can move on." And that makes it much easier to persevere through times like that. Not saying that it's easy in any means whatsoever, but it does give you the strength to say, okay, I felt that way yesterday. Today it's time to move forward and do something that's for me. And maybe I'll feel that way again tomorrow. But today, now that I've processed that a little bit, I'm going to design a sticker, I'm going to design a logo, or I'm going to work on a business plan, or I'm going to create a recipe. I'm going to do something that brings me a little bit of happiness and that pushes the positive things in my life forward while acknowledging the negative things as being there but moving beyond them.
Yeah. Light and shadow.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't have one without the other. Okay, how about this one?
That's us, light and shadow. That's the title to the book about our marriage.
There you go. All right, finish this one. Family is
Essential, complicated,
yeah.
frustrating, loving,
life-saving.
All of the above.
life-saving,
Yeah,
fun. Yeah. It's all of that.
yeah,
I mean, it's there's a weird dynamic there because family can be a very broad term.
yeah.
The family that I had post COVID is not the family I had pre COVID. The family we had pre COVID. Tragedy, I think, brings out any extreme event, whether it's tragedy, whether it's success, whether it's whatever, I think can sometimes bring out the true color and nature of people.
Yeah.
And it's through those times you have to recognize that family is the family you make and the family you choose. It's not the family that was necessarily given to you.
Right.
And if you can honor that, then family does become essential, right? Family it's your support system. It's everything that you need. It's the love that you carry with you. And the family that you thought you have that doesn't support that was never really your family to begin with.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay, wrap it up here. One more. Creativity is what?
Ryan, my husband, since I have zero, I live vicariously through him. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, to me, it's life, right? Like I will always be creative to my dying day. I want my death to be creative.
Yeah.
You know, just yesterday, and maybe this is too soon, and maybe you'll want to cut this from the podcast, but the guy who wrote Jesus Take the Wheel died
Yeah.
in a plane crash. And as tragic as that is, I love the irony on it. Jesus didn't take the wheel.
Yeah.
Or maybe he did, if that's what you want to argue.
Yeah.
One way or another. But there is some irony in that I appreciate. And I hope that I am able to go out as creatively and as ironically as that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not something you want for your podcast. But
I don't think we can top that. I don't think we can beat that. But we do have to wrap up with the one big one, because this is essential to what we're talking about, what we're doing. And it is hope is. Hope is
what will carry you through.
Yeah. Moving forward.
Yeah.
Just, getting up every day and facing the challenges, because, nobody said life was going to be easy, and it certainly isn't, but you have to find the hope for all of those, great, moments. I think just the other day we were having a conversation, and, I was feeling really frustrated, and I look at Ryan and I'm like, why does life just have to be so hard? It has to be so hard all the time. And his response was, oh, so we can enjoy, all the good times.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking, as you said that, yes, life is hard, and then you can have a good cup of coffee with that donut.
there you go. There you go. There you go.
those small pleasures that make it all worthwhile. You guys, we just really have to thank you for taking this time with us. It was enlightening, and it truly was a pleasure talking with you and getting
you
stories.
Guys as well.
I would love to, though, before we wrap it up, because we will share this with everybody. We want to know, how can people find you? So if they're looking for Donut Kitty, do you have socials? Do you have a website?
Oh, yeah, of course. DonutKitty.com is the website. Our merch and coffees are available there, as well as announcements about our brick and mortars and our pop-ups. And then our social is Original Donut Kitty on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So you can find us there as well. Those feature announcements about our pop-ups, but also secret menu items, things that you're not going to find online, so that if you do come out to a pop-up, you'll be a little bit more in the know.
We'll share all that out with this podcast. And I can attest, I walked around with a super cute Donut Kitty keychain. Everybody get your merch. You won't regret it. It really is adorable. And,
Well,
and,
thank
and a little bit subversive. I love it.
Always.
Thank you guys for being here with us. Everyone, Ryan and Anne-Marie, check out Donut Kitty, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on Soul Sisteries.
And thanks for sharing stories with us. We'd love to hear your stories as well, and keep the conversation going, absolutely keeping the hope going. So we're really hopeful that you'll connect with our guests as well, who have great stories to share. Go ahead and follow them in various social media platforms or live venues, wherever it is that they're performing and sharing what they do.
We would love to have you follow us on all of our social media platforms, subscribe and rate, as that will help us get our message of hope out to others.
Thanks for listening to Soul Sisteries.